Hello and welcome to the last lesson of Gauss's law, and what we'll cover here is how we can use Gauss's law to establish electric field E between two oppositely charged plates. But before we do this, let us discuss the idea of charge inside a conductor, or more precisely in some form of cavity inside a conductor. Well, we know that if there is no motion of charge inside a conductor, the E value at any point inside the conductor has to be 0. And if you spill excess charge on the conductor, it will redistribute itself evenly on the surface of the conductor. So with these facts in mind, let us go ahead and make a cavity inside this conductor. Now, if we make a Gaussian surface G like this, we can say that there is no distribution of charge on the surface of the cavity, since the electric field E on this Gaussian surface is 0. Now, let us put a small charge Q inside the cavity, and we also make sure that the charge Q is insulated from the conductor or does not touch the conductor. The question is, can we say that E on the surface G is again 0? Well, indeed, E is 0 on this surface as well in this situation, but then to make this claim, according to Gauss's law, the net charge inside this surface should be 0. But we do see that there is a charge Q inside. So what has happened is that this charge Q has drawn negative charge of equal value on the surface of the cavity, thus making the net charge 0 inside surface G. But then we cannot magically have extra negative charge appearing on the conductor. So an equivalent positive charge Q must appear somewhere on the conductor, and well, you would have guessed that it must appear on the surface because it cannot appear inside the conductor in an electrostatic situation that we agreed before. So now, as the last example under application of Gauss's law, we will calculate the electric field between two very large charged plates that are parallel to each other. So the setup is that each plate is given an equal charge but opposite in sign, such that one has charge density plus rho and the other has minus rho. Now what you would realize is that the charge on either plate would move towards each other, considering that they are opposite in sign. So what happens is that they end up accumulating towards the inner side of the plate like this. Well, there will be some fringing at the ends of the plate, but then it will be very small considering the plates are large and the charge at the ends is therefore significantly smaller. We can then assume that the field between the plates is uniformly distributed and the electric field points from positive to the negative plate. Under such conditions, we can also assume that the electric field outside would be 0, since all the charge has accumulated on the inner side of the plates. Now let us go ahead and find the electric field value E between the plates. So the first step would be to establish the Gaussian surface. Since we wish to find electric field between the plates, we will take this as the Gaussian surface, with one side of the cylinder sticking inside the plate and the other projecting out. The next step is to establish the total flux passing through the Gaussian surface, and we can see that the flux passing through this cap of the cylinder is E times A. We can also observe that there is no flux passing through this side of the cylinder, since it is inside the plate and no field can exist inside the plate under electrostatic conditions. Also, the field is parallel to the curvy side of the cylinder, hence no flux through the curved surface as well. So the total flux then is just EA through this side cap, and then the left hand side of the Gauss equation becomes EA. Now the right hand side of the equation should have the charge enclosed by the Gaussian surface divided by epsilon, and we can say that the charge enclosed is rho times A, and therefore E is equal to rho upon epsilon. Well, if you had considered the Gaussian surface on this plate instead, the equation would have been as follows. The left hand side would be minus E times A, and remember we take minus E since the field is pointing into the Gaussian surface, and the right hand side would have charge enclosed as minus rho A divided by epsilon. So you see, again we get E is equal to rho divided by epsilon. That is the same result as we got in the earlier derivation. You can also see that the field value is independent of the distance between the plates and depends only on the charge density. And if you consider surfaces G3 and G4, the E value you know will be 0, but I would suggest that you apply Gauss's law to prove this yourself. So if you like this video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up, and please do not forget to subscribe to this channel for many more interesting videos.